The next thing I'd like to do on my webpage is add an image of myself. I have this handy dandy image right here with this good looking guy. I'm going to drag and drop it into the page where I have, excuse me, into the folder where I'm going to have all the files from my website. And now I'm going to tell my website to use this image. So to do that, I'm going to go over here to my site, and then I'm going to add this line. I'm going to say, put it up here, image source robin.jpg alt robin's headshot. Let me make this screen a little bit bigger. All right, so this alt attribute, well, you can see that it's showing up now. This alt attribute, obviously you don't actually see it anywhere on this page. But if I get rid of some letter in my file here so that it's misspelled, then you can see that what I typed in that alt attribute shows up over here. Maybe you can guess what alt stands for. It stands for alternate. And so it's what shows up if your user, the person viewing your web page, for some reason can't see the image. So this isn't just for if the file is broken, it's also for if the person physically can't see, if they're blind. Their screen reader, which translates text into Braille, will show them this piece of text. And using this alt attribute is actually a requirement through the American with Disabilities Act. So it's not like the police are going to come banging down your door if you don't include it, but you'll always see this alt attribute on every image on any government website. Okay, so it's very important that this image be right inside your, right alongside your index.html. They both have to be inside this portfolio folder. The last thing I'm going to do is just add a little bit more text. I'll say that I am a full stack web developer. And let's see what this looks like. Okay, what a fantastic site. Okay, so this is good enough for a new commit. So I'm going to type git add. Before I just did git add index.html. And so if I were going to do it in this commit, I would do git add index.html, git add robin.jpg. And this is telling Git that it should save both of these files as part of the snapshot that I'm about to take. So now I'll actually take that snapshot. I'll say git commit -m for message. I'll say added headshot. Okay, and there we go. So now I'm going to do git push origin master. So this goes back up to GitHub. And I'm going to go back to GitHub once this is done doing its thing. Looks like the internet's being a little pokey. There we go. There we go. Okay, so now if I go back to my remote repository, this is my local repository with the .git folder. This is my remote repository. And refresh the page. I should see that my robin.jpg is showing up right here. And there it is. And also the changes have been made to my index.html. Okay, so I've made 2 commits so far. I have this shortcut on my computer which shows me my 2 commits. This is actually sort of a graphical representation of all the commits I'm going to make. It's going to turn into one big long line. Um, what I'm going to go for here with all of my different commits is each one representing like a good stopping place in the development of my app. Once you start using Git, it's really tempting to make a new commit every single time that you save. Like anytime you save your file, you make a new commit. And that's not very useful. In the same way that if you're making a cartoon, you don't want all the different snapshots that make up the cartoon to, include pictures of the animator's hand in the way or things that they're erasing. You don't want those to show up on the snapshots. You only want to show up in the snapshots the things that are sort of part of the final polished product. And so that's what I'm going to go for here. I'm not going to make a commit where I have something only halfway done. I'm going to make a commit when I've finished one specific feature in my app. In this case, the feature was adding this headshot. I'm going to do something else now. I'm actually going to publish this site on the web. So I'm going to do git push origin master, but I'm also going to add gh pages onto the end of this. And so what that does is it creates a new branch. A branch, well, I've mentioned that GitHub repository, it's like a series of snapshots in the same way that a cartoon is a series of snapshots. But let's say that when you're developing a cartoon, you're not sure in which direction you want to take the cartoon. So what you could do is you could sort of experiment and you could come up with a different sort of sets of timelines. So different series of snapshots. Maybe you'll go off in one direction where the character in your cartoon does one thing, and then you'll also try sort of splitting off from a specific point, sort of making a fork in the road where off on one fork of the road you add a series of snapshots where the character does one thing. The other fork of the road, you start a series of snapshots where the character does another thing. Then you just sort of look at both series of snapshots, decide which one you want, and you delete the other one. That's what Git branching is. It creates a new series of snapshots that sort of forks off from the series that you are working on right now. And so this is nice because it gives you a way of testing out different features without having to go back and delete a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not going to get into that too much right now, but the way GitHub Pages works, this site that GitHub gives you that lets you publish your own web page, it relies on you pushing all of your changes up to a branch called GH Pages. By default, the branch you're working on is called master. So that's why I did git push origin master before. Origin is the remote repository that I want to push to, the other computer that I want to send my changes to. Master is the branch to which I want to send all these changes. So I was working on the master branch on my computer. I want to send all the changes to the master branch on the other computer, on the remote repository. If you do git push origin master colon gh pages or colon anything, really, this for instance is saying, I want you to take everything that's on the master branch on my computer and send it to a branch called anything on the other computer. So when I did master colon gh pages, it's saying take everything from the master branch on my computer and send it to a branch on GitHub called gh pages. If I go back to GitHub now I can see that there are two branches here. So there's master and there's gh pages. This is the branch I just created. What pushing to this gh pages thing does is, well, with most repositories, it doesn't actually do anything. But with this special GitHub repository that I've named in this way, what it does is it tells GitHub to publish this site. So you see here it says your site is published at robert.aka.robin.github.io. If I go there, here's my site. And it's not on my computer anymore. There's no file colon slash slash slash. This is just a regular old website, robert.aka.robin.github.io. So now literally anyone on the planet with an internet connection can see my site. GitHub makes it this easy to publish your own site. I'm not going to go back over the steps right now because I'm going to be doing them many more times over the course of making this site as I continue to update this thing. But GH Pages is super convenient and super helpful. So I'm going to stop this video here.